Hello and welcome everyone. I'm so glad you could join us today. I hope you're all doing well. It's a pleasure to be here at Peak Outsourcing to discuss the role of a human capital business partner. As we go through the presentation, feel free to take notes. If any questions come up along the way, please jot them down and I'll be happy to address them at the end of the session. Let's get started and dive into today's key topics. Our first topic will be introducing the team, followed by a discussion on the duties and responsibilities of an Hcbp. Next, we'll cover performance management, and finally, we'll wrap up with a review of the Code of Conduct. Let's begin by introducing the core members of our team. These are the key people you'll be collaborating with every day. At our Hcbp team in the Makati site, we have the following members. First, we have Mario, our Hcbp manager. Next, there's Royce, our Hcbp supervisor. Following that, we have AJ, our senior Hcbp. Then we have Zaira, one of our Hcbps. Lastly, we have Mitch, another valued member of our Hcbp team. At our Dumaguete site, we have the following team members. First, Chow, our assistant vice president for human capital. Next, Sol, our Hcbp supervisor. Then, Jilly, our Hcbp2. And lastly, Brigitte, another valued member of our Hcbp team. Let's take a moment to talk about what Hcbp actually do and how we support the organization. First, one of our core responsibilities is managing the 201 files of all employees. These files contain essential documentation about each team member, including employment history, performance records, and any other key HR information. It's critical that we maintain these files accurately and securely, ensuring that all data is up to date. Next, we are responsible for handling disciplinary actions. When there are any issues related to employee behavior or performance that require formal attention, Hcbps step in to manage the process. We work closely with employees and managers to ensure that any actions taken are fair, consistent, and aligned with company policy. We also play a key role in enforcing company policies. Whether it's a matter of attendance, behavior, or other company guidelines, it's our job to ensure that all employees understand and adhere to the established rules. We provide clarity when policies are questioned, and we make sure they are communicated consistently across the organization. Another important aspect of our role is to manage performance reviews. We work with both managers and employees to ensure performance is assessed fairly and constructively. This includes facilitating review processes, setting performance goals, and helping identify areas for growth. Performance management is essential for employee development and the overall success of the company. Finally, Hcbps are responsible for issuing documents to employees as needed. This could include contracts, performance reviews, formal warnings, or other important HR communications. We make sure that these documents are properly issued and that employees receive the information they need in a timely manner. So in short, Hcbps ensure that the HR processes are running smoothly, policies are followed, performance is tracked, and employees have the necessary documentation for their roles. We are here to provide support and ensure that our workforce is empowered to succeed. Next, we'll focus on performance management. Performance management is an ongoing process that includes setting clear expectations, offering regular feedback, evaluating employee performance, and supporting their professional growth. As part of this process, employees are assigned specific key performance indicators, KPIs, to track their progress on a monthly basis. These KPIs are developed by the head of the department or account in consultation with the employees to ensure alignment and clarity. Once established, the KPIs also serve as the foundation for key milestones like regularization and the annual performance appraisal. What is performance appraisal? One of the main objectives of the Peak system is to assess success based on clearly defined goals and targets. Employee performance is tracked using key performance indicators, KPIs. Let's start with the third-month appraisal. During this period, probationary employees must achieve a passing score in their third-month evaluation to be considered for regularization. Next is the fifth-month appraisal. To qualify for regularization, probationary employees must also pass the 5th month evaluation. Moving on to the annual appraisal. To be eligible for an annual salary increase, employees must receive a score of 3 or higher. Lastly, promotion refers to the advancement of an employee to a higher role, position, or level within the organization. Now for our final topic, we'll be discussing the Peak Code of Conduct. We'll go over the do's and don'ts here at Peak Outsourcing. As always, feel free to take notes, and if any questions arise during the session, please jot them down. I'll be happy to address them at the end. Let's now turn our attention to the Peak Code of Conduct. In order to maintain a fair and organized approach to employee behavior, we categorize offenses into different levels based on their severity. First, we have minor offenses, which are divided into Class A and Class B offenses. These are generally less serious infractions, but they still require attention and appropriate action. On the other hand, major offenses are more severe and are categorized as Class C and Class D. These offenses typically involve more serious violations of company policies and require more formal proceedings. First, let's discuss the difference between minor and major offenses. For minor offenses, infractions under Class A and B do not require an administrative hearing. On the other hand, for major offenses, the Hcbp is required to conduct an administrative hearing for all cases. What is admin hearing? An admin hearing, in the context of company policy, refers to a formal process in which an employee or a party is given an opportunity to present their side of a case or defend themselves against allegations of violating company policies, rules, or codes of conduct. It is typically a structured procedure that ensures due process, fairness, and transparency when addressing workplace issues or potential violations. Now, let's discuss the progressive corrective actions outlined in our Code of Conduct. The process begins with a documented verbal warning, followed by a written warning. If the issue persists, final written warning is issued. After that, we may issue a stern warning, and in the most serious cases, termination may be considered. Now, let's go over the 7 provisions of our Code of Conduct. First, we have the attendance policy. Next is the operational standard procedures. Following that is negligence. Then we have personal demeanor. Afterward, we'll cover insubordination. Afterward, we'll cover dishonesty and fraud. And finally, we have safety and security. First, let's go over our provisions, starting with the attendance policy. Now, let's discuss some common violations within the policy. Starting with attendance, one of the main violations is tardiness. This refers to failing to report to your assigned work at the designated time. Tardiness that results in a salary deduction will be based on the prescribed login time. Any delay, even by just a few minutes past the required login time, will be considered tardiness. Next, we have phone advice of absence not within the prescribed period. Employees are required to notify us of their absence at least 3 hours before their shift begins. The following pertains to requests for sick leave that are not supported by a medical certificate from an accredited clinic or hospital under our current medical provider. This includes absences due to family emergencies, personal emergencies, or other situations where no formal documentation can be provided. Examples may include, but are not limited to, family disputes, childcare responsibilities, caring for a relative, or lack of transportation. Absence on critical work days, including all regular and special non-working holidays, salary pay days, 13th month payout dates, SL conversion payout dates, and the day before or after arrest day is considered a violation without prior approval. Unlike the one-day sickness absence policy, a valid medical certificate is mandatory for absences on critical work days due to illness. No call, no show / AWOL. This occurs when an employee fails to report to work and does not inform their immediate superior or the workforce team following the proper call-out procedure for that day. For probationary employees assigned to operations, 3 days of unauthorized absence will trigger an RTWO. For trainees, 1 day of unauthorized absence will trigger an RTWO. Now let's proceed with the operational standards and procedure. Operational standard procedure. Employees should refrain from engaging in unauthorized activities or personal business during work hours. This includes activities such as running a buy and sell business, watching TV, playing games, sending irrelevant emails or text messages, reading non-work materials, or browsing the internet on company time or premises without prior approval from management. The next section of the Operational Standard Procedure covers the Zero Tolerance Policy, ZTP. Examples of violations under this policy include using profanity during calls or chats, or displaying abusive/rude behavior towards coworkers, customers, vendors, or others. Releasing or dropping a call/chat while the customer is still on the line or their concern remains unresolved. Call or chat avoidance, including unauthorized transfers to other employees. The next topic covers minor client escalations, which involve situations where the client requests an investigation into out-of-process incidents. These escalations do not require immediate termination or urgent action. Major client escalation. This includes any client escalation and will be managed as follows. If the client demands removal based on performance infractions, the employee will be placed on floating status immediately. If the escalation involves both client-recorded performance infractions and peak-recorded infractions with documented interventions, the employee will be placed on preventive suspension. They will be pulled from work immediately while an investigation is conducted, and the remainder of their shift will be paid. Now, let's shift our focus to the next provision, which addresses acts that violate good conduct and behavior, specifically negligence. This provision outlines the importance of maintaining responsible and diligent actions within the workplace and highlights how negligence, whether intentional or due to carelessness, can undermine the integrity and functioning of the organization. For minor negligence, the following apply: losing or willfully neglecting company records, failure to comply with required requirements, failure to complete the pre-employment medical exam, failure to follow a standard policy or process. Major negligence can be exemplified by a range of actions, particularly when an individual fails to adhere to well-established processes, policies, or protocols that are designed to safeguard the organization's operations, reputation, or compliance requirements. One of the most significant examples of major negligence is failure to follow an established process or policy, especially when this failure results in a critical business impact. The next provision focuses on maintaining good conduct and behavior, emphasizing the importance of personal demeanor. It outlines the expectations for how individuals should conduct themselves in a professional and respectful manner at all times, both in interactions with others and in their overall attitude. This provision underscores the need for professionalism, courtesy, and respect in all situations, ensuring a positive and harmonious environment for everyone involved. Dress code policy. Violating the company's prescribed dress code, including failure to wear the required company ID, is not allowed. Here are the specific requirements for our dress code policy. All tube tops/sandal, camisole, halter tops, racerback, spaghetti strap, T-back shirt worn without vest, cardigan, bolero, or blazer. Backless tops that expose the back below the bust line, cleavage, bearing tops, see-through tops, and slash or bottoms where the undergarment can be seen. All tops showing midsection while standing/walking. All skirts and dresses must have a hemline 1 inch above the knee. Tattered jeans, all kinds of shorts, clothing with pictures and/or statements that are vulgar, sexually explicit, or may otherwise be offensive. Sleeping while on duty. Sleeping at work is considered unprofessional and can negatively impact an employee's reputation. It may create the perception of a lack of commitment or responsibility, even if the sleep was due to fatigue or personal reasons. Uncontrolled temper/discourtesy. Displaying an uncontrolled temper or discourtesy that is unbecoming of a peak outsourcing employee, including making offensive or discriminatory remarks, bullying or engaging in inappropriate behavior, whether verbally in front of others or through email, text, or chat, is prohibited. creating rumors or making false statements, spreading rumors or making false statements about another employee, or maligning coworkers, supervisors, or managers in a way that harms or damages their reputation, authority, or standing within the company is prohibited. Improper conduct and discourtesy, engaging in acts of discourtesy or disrespect towards fellow employees, company visitors, suppliers, or customers, either within company premises or while performing official duties outside the company that lead to escalations or complaints is also prohibited. Drinking alcoholic beverages and smoking, working or being under the influence of alcohol or any controlled substances, including prohibited drugs, on peak outsourcing premises or in the work area is prohibited. Drinking alcoholic beverages within peak outsourcing premises or while performing official work or business outside the premises is not allowed. Smoking is not permitted within designated restricted areas of the company premises. Sexual harassment. Any actions that violate an individual's rights or privileges under civil service laws, rules, and regulations are prohibited. Retaliation, whether direct or indirect, against an employee who refuses a demand, request, or requirement for sexual favors is strictly forbidden. The next provision addresses the importance of good conduct and behavior, specifically focusing on the issue of insubordination. It emphasizes that all individuals are expected to demonstrate respect for authority and adhere to directives from supervisors and leadership. Insubordination, which involves refusing to follow reasonable instructions or behaving disrespectfully toward those in positions of authority, is strictly prohibited. Refusing to work. This includes the following examples: refusing to accept assigned tasks, refusing to cooperate with colleagues or management, refusing to follow medical advice or recommendations. The next provision addresses good conduct and behavior, dishonesty, and fraud. Fraudulent reporting of sick leave. This includes calling in sick or extending sick leave to receive sick leave benefits or for other personal reasons, as well as faking or tampering with medical certificates or submitting fraudulent documents. Use of another employee's login ID and /signature, logging in or out on behalf of another employee, whether to avoid tardiness or absenteeism, or for any other reason, is prohibited. This can lead to fraudulent salary or allowance claims through falsified time records and may result in other violations. This applies regardless of whether it is done at the request of another employee or with personal intent. The last provision addresses house rules, safety, and security. First, we have company IT policy, minor offenses, failing to keep your work area clean, eating at workstations, removing or transferring IT equipment without authorization, failing to shut down computers at the end of the shift, browsing non-work websites or using non-work applications, plugging in personal devices or laptops at workstations, connecting to the company Wi-Fi without prior approval, failing to lock screens when away from your workstation. Now, for major offenses regarding IT policy, the following are also not allowed: using mobile phones inside the production area without authorization, downloading unauthorized websites, applications, or games on company computers, removing or deleting company files, links, websites, or applications without approval, changing computer settings without authorization. For other safety and security minor offenses, we have the following: use of open mugs/cups with liquid that do not have a spill-proof lid brought to the workstation and/or operations floor, unauthorized removal of any notice or announcements from the company bulletin boards in other areas. For other safety and security major offenses, the following are not allowed: destroying or damaging company property, records, or information, as well as the property of employees, visitors, vendors, or guests. Theft of another person's property during work hours or within company premises, including official company functions or events. Offenders directed to not dismiss their loaned diamond for further instruction, have a resurrection or assisting others in doing so without prior authorization from company officials. Forcibly entering company premises despite restrictions or access controls. What are the consequences of having active disciplinary actions? You will be ineligible for promotions and annual salary increases. Next, let's discuss the cleansing period related to attendance violations. For offenses ranging from a documented verbal warning up to a final written warning, the cleansing period is 1 month or 30 days. For a stern warning, the cleansing period extends to 2 months or 60 days. Now, for violations unrelated to attendance, the cleansing periods are as follows: documented verbal warning, 2 months or 60 days. Written warning, 3 months or 90 days. Final written warning, 4 months or 120 days. Stern warning, 6 months or 180 days. Thank you all for joining us for today's Human Capital Business Partner Orientation. We hope you found the session informative and valuable as you begin this exciting journey. We look forward to working together. If you have any questions or need further clarification, don't hesitate to reach out or email us at hcbp@peakoutsourcing.com. Wishing you all the best as you get started. Have a great day ahead.